Hello, welcome to Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets Mindful. I'm Nikki Eisenhower, your host, life coach, and psychotherapist, and on today's episode, we are discussing lighting up for ourselves and each other. I mentioned how my partner and I light up for each other in the Thanksgiving episode. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about what lighting up for each other means. There's a video clip of Toni Morrison speaking with Oprah that I will probably show in every single thing that I teach from now till the end of time. It's that important and that illuminating. Toni Morrison is an author and she is a teacher at Princeton. She has written many books. She's written The Bluest Eye and Beloved and many others. And in this clip, what Toni Morrison is discussing is how when her children were little, they would walk into the room and she would look at them and she had this moment of clarity, this realization, this aha moment, because she was looking at her children to check and see if their shoes were buckled, if their belts were belted, if their hair was straight, making sure they were presentable and ready, these very functional things. And she realized that her children were coming into the room not to see if their mother approved of the checklist of their dressing and their readiness, but children enter the room and crave seeing us light up. We think that checking those very human things, that checklist of, do you have your shoes? Do you have your hat? Do you have your gloves? We think that that's communicating our love and our care. And this doesn't just happen between mother and child. This happens partner to partner, parent to parent, sibling to sibling, cousin to cousin, teacher to student. This happens with all our interactions, especially when we get to know someone and we get comfortable. We get drawn into those practical day-to-day things instead of communicating our love. That is the mistake a lot of us accidentally, mindlessly make without being able to name it or put our finger on it. That checklist of items is not the communication of love that we hope that it is. So Toni Morrison explains very artfully that from that moment on, she made a concerted effort to light up in the face, to look at her children with brightness and love, because the truth of things is she was happy that they were walking into the room, and she wanted them to feel the truth of her happiness and joy. She wanted to communicate from her eyes, the windows to our soul, her love. I didn't see this clip till I was a therapist for many years. And I realized in that moment, oh, I naturally do this for people. The trick for me and many of you highly sensitive people listening today is in learning how to light up for yourselves. The reason that it's easy to light up for other people is often because we have been lit up for, and we're hurting from that. It's easier for us to see other people. It's harder for us to see ourselves. Our eyeballs look outward. It's just not as simple to see myself, right? This is part of why highly sensitive people are such a group of codependents. It's not because we're naturally dysfunctional in this way. It's because we naturally see other people and we see their pain, we see their struggle, and we see and are connected to their response when we light up. Often the language I use with my clients is, you already know how to do a lot of this healthy stuff. This is just about turning it around. And instead of giving it all away, you have to retain some for yourself and give to yourself. You already know how to light up. I challenge you to light up for yourselves and to learn what that is, how to do it, and to work with someone and find communities and friends and connections, and yes, even work environments. Maybe this doesn't get said enough. If your work environment is miserable, please look for another job. There are other places out there. The more that we surround ourselves by the light, the more light-filled we feel. There's a balance for highly sensitive people. There's a balance that healers have to understand so that we don't burn out in our fields or in our lives. We have to balance giving and receiving. So many of us mindfully must create scenarios where people light up for us. For many of us, that first good fit therapist or life coach or healer was maybe the first person that lit up for us. Or if there's a good friend you had as a child, maybe that's a quality you've been searching for. Maybe that's part of what drives your loneliness. When we are in a room full of people and yet we still feel lonely and isolated, check that out. Don't just believe what I'm saying. Look at your own experiences and see if what I'm saying is the thing that you've never been able to put your finger on about that loneliness. I bet what you're wanting is just someone to light up. Some of you have reached out to me wondering why this show feels to you the way that it feels. I do think I was born with the purpose of lighting up. So I believe through the show, you can feel that I'm genuine about lighting up for you, even if I've never met you. And what happens is that everything that we send out into the world comes back to us. Not exactly and not in the same form, but what we send out there comes back. So when I get on this microphone and light up for you, to teach, to share, to grow myself, and to grow in this community, in this way that we need more compassion and love and mindfulness in the world. What has happened is proof. Emotional Badass has over 500 5-star reviews as we record this show. That is a tremendous feat. Now, how do I make sense of that? I have been lighting up, and what happens? Y'all have lit up for me in this show. And what does that do? That helps me keep lighting up for others. What we are searching for and what we are craving very often is reciprocity in our relationships, a give and a take. And so many of you sensitives who lean codependent are so depleted and exhausted and drained from the waves of life smacking you down before you could get your footing underneath you and stand up and take a breath. Or from energy vampires, emotional vampires that suck us dry. I want to thank you for lighting up for me in the show. I want to thank you for lighting up for yourself. Those of you who are parents who do that work to learn, because it's uncomfortable. When we have been underlit, if you will, starting to light up for ourselves is awkward. It's uncomfortable. That's how you know you're doing it. Someone asked me recently, how do you deal with the hate in the world? The nastiness, racism, sexism, all of it. And my response is, I'm imperfectly, but I mindfully will myself to light up. We have to stop meeting darkness with darkness. We have to stop meeting low vibes with low vibes and wondering why we leave those scenarios feeling so low vibe. When I say HSPs are secret leaders who have the power to change the world, this is what I mean. What happens when powerful sensitives smile, light up, lead with love and kindness? What happens when we powerfully, safely, confidently lead with lighting up and meet low vibes with high vibes? When we turn the light on in the dark, there is no longer darkness. What if through all the, I know some of you have read maybe hundreds and hundreds of self-help books and can't quite figure out what's not clicking, what's not coming together for you. Why do you have to work so hard at this? Start lighting up for yourself and see what happens. Look for a future episode where we meditate on the light. I am a vessel of the light, and I assure you, you are a vessel of the light too. I want to thank Excited for leaving us a beautiful review. Demetrios, I believe is the name. I'm grateful for you too. Thank you so much for your 5-star review. A124H, Yay! Thank you for a therapist review. I am really loving that some of you out there are sending your clients to me for 1 or 2 sessions just to get from head knowledge to heart knowledge, this emotional work, and to allow me and to allow your clients that openness to meet and greet and connect with other healers on the journey. Eddie for Peace, I'm so glad the show is helping you find yourself. Keep seeking. That be me. I like that name. Please share a hug with the person that shared podcasting with you and helped you find this show. I hope you're really proud of your soul healing. Thank you all so much for the effort that it takes to get on and figure out how to leave the review. I appreciate it so much. Remember, I am a vessel of the light. You are a vessel of the light. Together, we are Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. If you would like to support the show, please come find us on patreon.com/emotionalbadass. Every little bit helps us with equipment, technology, all the costs that pile up for producing this show and for managing the technology. Thank you. Light up for yourselves. I'll keep lighting up for me. And together we're going to light up the world. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.